Hey everybody, this is Doug Kenny along with my coach and mentor, actor Andy McPhee, and we welcome Lockie to Relentless and Unstoppable. Hey man, how you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Doing good.
Yeah, g'day Lockie. It's good to have an Aussie on board. It's what we like. The only thing that sort of really
really draw to each other in LA, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, they sure do, mate. The only thing that sort of does upset me a bit that you're 3 foot taller than me, and I thought I was tall at 6'6" nearly. As I get older, I think I'm shrinking, but geez, dude, you made me even feel smaller. How tall are you exactly, mate?
7 foot. I think I'm 212 centimeters, so like 6'11 3/4. That's barefoot.
Wow.
I haven't measured myself in a long time, so I'm not 100% tall, but I'll be around 7 foot.
Yeah, wow. And most people in America be going, "Hey, you play basketball, dude?"
Yeah, I get it a lot.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah.
Well, look, g'day, Doug from Arizona. How you doing, mate? Of course, Lockie's in LA, and so am I. The reason we've got Lachlan on is because he's got an incredible story to share with us about his journey, and he looks like a pretty big, fit-looking guy, but that's not how it's always been, has it, Loch?
No.
I saw photos on your Instagram, mate. I couldn't believe it. The one of you in the water, which Doug will put up here with your permission later on when we put the show out. But man, you, and I say this respectfully, you look like a prisoner of war.
Yeah. I was on death's doorstep, and I was on death's doorstep for like a prolonged period of time as well. So,
well, can you just give us a little overall view of just, what your health issues were and how you overcame that? And we'll only give a snapshot because we want to bring you back on again to get more in depth into your story as well, mate.
So I'll try and do this succinctly. I have a habit of blabbering on about it. It is such a long journey, and it's hard to like get to the start of it. But
yeah, exactly, mate. That's why we'll bring you back on probably more than twice, I'd say.
Essentially, I got diagnosed with Crohn's when I was 15 years old. My whole childhood was based around basketball and becoming, I basically wanted to be the greatest player in the world, or at the very least, the greatest player that ever came out of Australia. And so I got diagnosed with Crohn's when I was 15. I was just a stressed out kid. I was overtraining all the time, didn't have the right guidance. Just in my mind, the only way I could get out of my hell, which is really your mental hell, that's what it all is, was, to become a great basketball player. So that's all I valued my life based around. Anyway, after getting diagnosed with Crohn's and getting treated for it, after a year, I added all this weight because, I was absorbing my food. And I literally went from being like the fourth team in my representative squad to being at the Australian Institute of Sport, or like the Australian junior team, within like less than a year, 6 to 9 months or something. Which is an insane kind of, time frame to all of a sudden recognize talent, or potential, I should say.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, my career didn't go anywhere. I think before I turned 22, when I was just 21, I was with the Australian junior team in Serbia, and that was the first time I hurt my back. And then I think over the next year, like that back, it was spondylolisthesis, forward slippage of my vertebrae. And by the time that I stopped playing, like I couldn't stand up straight for like the next 2 years. I was like hunched.
Wow.
And not to mention, I had my osteochondritis dissecans, which is like a bony fragment in my knee, which got pinned down when I was 18. And the subsequent, playing on that for the next few years was all the cartilage started to peel away from, swelling, subchondral swelling between the bone and the cartilage. Then all of a sudden, by the time I stopped playing basketball, I had an arthritic knee, forward slippage of my vertebrae, Crohn's disease, and a completely broken soul.
Wow, man. I can understand why.
Yeah. So that's what I was dealing with. And then by the time I finished my university degree, which was exercise physiology, and I have a very analytical mind, and I want the evidence for everything, and I question everything. And at that point, you know, I've got pretty good at reading the literature, and all the stuff around Crohn's disease was, you know, just a pile of shit. Excuse my language. It's all right to swear on here, by the way, because it's definitely
yes, mate. We can slip one or two in here and there. We're human.
Except for certain words, obviously.
I literally just had enough. You know, it's been 10 years since I was diagnosed, and treatment was exactly the same. I think Humira, which was the drug that I was on, is the highest grossing drug in America. It treats, like, you know, thousands of different conditions. Don't quote me on that, but a lot of different conditions. And I'm like, there just has to be a better way. This can't be my life. Like, I'm going down a quick route of dying of bowel cancer at a very young age. I'm already decrepit with my knee. I can't walk to the shops 5 minutes. My back's always giving me pain. I'm just in pain, and I'm just angry. And I'm like, you know, someone that values physical freedom over everything else. And I honestly, I feel like I'm in prison. I have to take my medication all the time. You know, I can't physically do what I want to do. I felt trapped. I felt helpless.
That's really tough, man. I've seen photos on your Instagram, and in one of them, you look like a skeleton, like almost like you could have been on the Black Pearl in the first Pirates movie.
Yeah. So I think once I finished my university degree in 2017, I worked for a bit, and then the second half of 2017, I traveled for I think it was like 4 or 5 months. And yeah, but at that point, my stomach was getting worse. I was like throwing up most of my meals. Indigestion was terrible. So one of the complications I had with my Crohn's disease was stricturing of my duodenum. Your duodenum's like the part of your intestine which is immediately after your stomach. So I think mine was 5 millimeters in diameter, and it's supposed to be between 20 and 25 millimeters. So for me, probably more like 25 plus millimeters. And mine was 5 millimeters. And that was like that for over a decade. You know, I just took an antacid every now and then, had a nap, and the indigestion went away, and I was fine. But it was getting worse. At that point as well, I was vegan. That was one of the things which actually made me question, you know, because you started looking into like lifestyle medicine and, you know, diet and stuff. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm reading some of these studies, and it's like everyone on a plant-based diet's in remission and the other ones aren't. But I'm like, well, why isn't this working for me? So instead of being like, you know, stop doing that, I doubled down on it. I go extra plant-based. Like for a time, I was fruitarian. I think I only ate bananas for like 9 months. Bananas and papayas, I should specify. For 9 months or maybe even a year. And then for the next year, it was bananas and papaya and sweet potato and pumpkin. And that was actually following a guide. So you can, that's one of my points, is you can find anyone to fit whatever narrative you want. Like, and I'm so fixed in this specific way of healing, which was like plant-based medicine and fasting and spirituality and stuff, which, you know, I'm still very much into. That I just kind of got, you know, almost stuck in another prison of, you know, having to do something a certain way. But the funny thing is, as soon as I started getting help from someone and they just affirmed to me what I was doing was right, and at this point, like I'd lost half my body weight. I was going to die. I was fainting every single day. I like had the shakes in fear that I'm going to die, but like I'm so fixated in doing something a certain way that it's like that doesn't even matter. Anyway, as soon as I started getting the help, and they said, you know, what you're doing is fine, like, just got to stick to the process. Your body will heal in its own time. It's basically self-healing. You're giving yourself an environment that isn't toxic, and then your body can take care of the rest and heal itself. And straight away after that, this was like after about 6 months of going down this journey, my bowels firmed up. I was having clean, good bowel motions. I probably added, I'd say 20 kilos, which is like 45 pounds in the space of a month. So like my chi was up. I was like, yes, I've healed myself. You know, I'm going to be running juice retreats in Bali in a year's time, charging 20K a head. But after about 8 weeks of that, all of a sudden the bowel motions got worse again. the anxiety got so much worse. Like the bowel motions got sticky, they got sloppy, the indigestion was back a bit. Anyway, by the end of that year, I'm like, I've had enough of this healing journey. I just want to get back to where I was before. I don't care if my knees stuffed. I don't care if my back's stuffed. I don't care if my stomach's stuffed. I just want to, have some I just want to have some kind of life, because right now I'm not living at all. And I'm like, put me on every medication. I don't care. And I had in my head, I was like, yeah, just put me on prednisolone. Maybe like a dose of corticosteroids would fix me up. Anyway, I get this rash that got completely out of control, and I ended up going on prednisolone for that rash. And like, I felt like that's just a little example of me attracting something into my life. And backtrack before that, I'm sick of being fatigued. I ended up getting a whitetail spider bite, and it was like, I'm already on the ropes. This whitetail spider just knocks me clean out. I was bed bound for the next month.
Hey, Lockie, sorry to jump in, but can you explain that to our American viewers? Because a lot of people go, I want to come to Australia, but I don't like your bugs. And the first thing I go to is I tell them about the whitetail, how small it is, and they're going, that little spider does that? Can you just give us a quick little insight into what that whitetail does to you when you get bitten by it? It's a very domestic spider, right? It's always
it's meant to be really dirty, so it's not even like so much the what is it, the poison or the venom that it's it's like the bacteria that it's putting into you. So I had like this big bullet, and it just like on my bum, and it was like that big. It was big. I got antibiotics for it, which I never took, by the way. So
it can start eating your skin away, I think, can't it?
Exactly. Yeah. So that big bullet, it got smaller, but it was there for like 2 years.